welcome to my kitchen. Now, I wanted to film here today because I think this is a place for me that is a place where, there's good conversation, it brings up a lot of reflection, and often a lot of ideas. And one thing that came to my mind, has actually been coming to my mind a lot these last few weeks, is this idea of taking a leap of faith. And the reason it came up is that I've been writing a chapter in a book called The New Paradigm of Education Rising. And it's about looking at new solutions and ideas for learning and education. But in this process of writing, I have been looking back at our journey. And what I have looked back and always seen as a leap of faith, I realized was a bit different. So I'll explain that in a minute. But first of all, I wanted to talk a little bit about what comes to my mind when I think leap of faith. So our kids took parkour years ago. And for those of you that don't know what parkour is, it's essentially running, jumping, climbing kind of movement in things that are around you, around your house, around your neighborhood, in your city. And so it's this idea of trying to use the things around us as a form of movement. And so the coach that they had, he was very kind of driven and motivational and really tried to inspire them to kind of take chances and to try new things. And so he created this warehouse of climbing and activity. And he built this jump called the leap of faith. Now, it was about 3 or 4 meters high, and you would kind of come up these back stairs onto this platform, and you would dive into this big pit of foam. And I just liked how he would ask the question, he's like, are you willing to take a leap of faith? And he would invite parents to come and try, and people from businesses, as kind of this like self-challenge of like getting out of that comfort zone and trying something new. And the kids would get to the point where they would just jump off, and then they started flipping and double flipping and back flipping and trying all different things. But it really made me think about the challenges that we're willing to take on in life. And what I have realized in doing the writing and in thinking back on this experience with parkour is that I think there's some things that prepare us to take a leap of faith. And those are the things that I want to talk about today. So to me, I think there's 3 things that prepare us. And it's almost like we're taking a calculated risk. It may seem like a leap of faith, but I think there are things that we are calculating and sorting through in our mind before it comes to that point. So there's 3 things that I'd like to talk about. The first one is the idea that a leap of faith comes in small steps. And this was the thing that kind of surprised me as I thought back to our self-directed learning journey, was that it feels to me like we took a leap of faith. But when I actually think back to how the process went, we took small calculated steps. And what I mean by that is that we started self-directed learning, but we started with a lot of the same things as what school is, with a schedule, with subjects, with hour-by-hour increments. So we did, leap into something new and put ourselves into that space of trying something that might make us feel uncomfortable, but we did it in a way that we were ready for, so we were comfortable with. And that was one of the things that I've been surprised about as I think back on our journey. But I do think it happens in these small steps. And then later on, you look back and it feels like a leap. And I think to other people, it looks like a leap of faith. But in actuality, it's small steps that lead us there. I think that also with my son has done a lot of, kind of cliff jumping, flipping, that type of thing. But I think that also happened in small stages. He started by jumping off small things, small ledges, or like a bank at the beach. And then it gradually became more. On his 13th birthday, he wanted to go cliff jumping. And when I would tell people, it often felt like it was a bit like, wow, that's pretty extreme and kind of crazy. But I think it happened in small steps. He was gradually preparing himself for doing something like that. So that's number one. Number two is the idea of seeing what other people have done and using that as a bit of an example. So we can read about other people that have, done the thing that we want to do, whether it's cliff jumping or starting a YouTube channel or going into self-directed learning, like, you watching this channel, is you can see what our process has been, and therefore you go into your process having a bit more knowledge and understanding. Maybe it's not going to be the same, but you're having something there that you can draw on based on someone else's experience. So I think this is a good one. I think it also comes into play when people have, like, another example would be like a side hustle. So if somebody wants to start a business, they're going to see and watch, what did somebody else do? They might do it by small steps, again, by trying it while they still have their full-time job. But you're watching and you're seeing what someone else has done, and then you're more comfortable to step into it. Now, the warning here is that if you watch too much of what other people are doing, it can put you into paralysis by analysis, because you're watching so much about what and how someone's doing it that it feels further away for you. So that's the warning, is yes, for sure, see what other people are doing, listen to their experiences, but at the same time, remember that your experience is your own. So that is number two, seeing and reading what other people are doing. So the third one is trusting your gut, trusting your instincts. Now, I think anytime we're drawn to something, sometimes we don't know exactly why, whether it's cliff jumping or self-directed learning or starting a business. But there's something in us that it catches us, it holds us. And I think that's part of our intuition and our gut instinct, and it's something that I think it's important to listen to. But I think our thinking mind and society and people around us can really shape that. And what we want to do is kind of have little reminders for ourselves of why we're doing what we're doing, why that is important to us. And so maybe you have a quote or somebody's example of what someone else has done, pin that up on your wall, or write a little sticky and stick it on your mirror. These are ways that can be a constant reminder to you as to trust these gut instincts and intuition that you have. For me, it's one of my favorite quotes by Socrates, and it is, "The secret to change is focusing all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new." And that was a big one for me in both starting this business as well as the self-directed journey that we had with our kids. So anyway, these are the three things that I think can help anyone take calculated risks or feel more comfortable with the risks that they're taking. So just to review them. So number one is taking small, actionable steps, because it's often these small, actionable steps that actually make it look like a leap of faith. So do those steps, maybe push your comfort level, but do it in steps that are manageable for you. Number two is read about and talk about with other people that have had the same experience, whether it's watching someone on YouTube or reading a story about someone that has gone through self-directed learning. These situations help us to understand the process. And number three is trust your gut instincts. They're there for a reason. Just like all leaps of faith, they can feel uncomfortable and can make you feel unsure. It's just like this leap into being a YouTuber. Do I know how to do it? Do I know what to do yet? No. Am I willing to take a leap of faith? Yes. It's important to me. I want to share our story and what we've learned. And I can take these small steps, which I'm hoping one day I look back and it feels like a leap of faith. If this was interesting to you and you'd like to hear more on this topic and hear more about our step-by-step process in this self-directed journey, please subscribe and click the bell for notifications so you get notified when a new video is released. I hope to see you here again, and until next time, I'm Janine from Remindful Life. Losing your mind.